Welcome to Deep Thought, playing on people's fears. Now, this is kind of a follow-up to what I was saying, talking about in the previous podcast. You got people out here just playing on people's fears. That's one of the ways people try to amass power. Like, you've had a lot of people with everything going on in the U.S. right now who've thrown out the word fascist. One thing about fascism, which I know a lot about, actually, when I was in college, I was had a minor in politics, and particularly revolutionary politics, and I had a teacher. I don't know if he wants his name called on this podcast, but he taught specifically about fascism. In fact, I have an autographed book that he wrote on Mussolini, so I learned a lot about it. One thing that fascists do to get power, and not just the fascists, I'm going to get into that in a second, they play on people's fears. They play on people's fears. Not just a fascist, socialist, left and right, both left and right. Ain't nobody innocent in all of this. One of the things they do is play on people's fears. That's happening now in the political arena, because, with the Roe v. Wade overturn, you've already had the more Republican side saying, oh, this is going to be a problem. Oh, those woke people going to do this. But I'm going to be real. Now, just to be clear, fair acknowledgement, I'm politically independent, so I can look at it on a more sober basis. I'm not caught up into it. Thing is, on the side of the left, what they doing? They playing on the fears. Oh, they're going to take your power away. They're going to do this. What they doing it for? To get you to vote. To get you to vote for them. And I was like, bravo, I guess. But it's something to take into consideration. See, no tribe is really innocent in all of this. And I'm using those examples. Those are the ones dominating the news. But think about a spiritual tribe. How many of them will use your fear of death as their thing to get you to behave a certain way? Think about it. Or your fear of being ostracized. Think about it. There's so many angles to it. Getting back to what I was saying about fascism. I learned a lot about it. One of their things is have a group of people and exploit their fear of the other. How does that feel? How does that sound? How familiar does that sound? Oh, if we don't come together, these people will do something to us. And that's on both sides. Let's be real. I've heard that's on both sides. Both sides, political spectrum, spiritual, religious, racial, ethnic group. The thems, they doing this. Let's fear them. Let's control through fear and everything. If you look at the news, whether you watching a more to the right or more to the left, what do they do? Shoot. It's hard for me to look at a station and say, no, the most I can do is look at any like cable network or something and say, okay, they closer to the middle, but they ain't quite there. They just closer than this other one, And we don't get that. We get fears. We get everything's played on fears. Even what they talk about in the news on a bigger level, they even on the political thing. We always hear about the negative stuff happening. Think about it. The tribe there are the corporations. Think about it, because and I've talked about this before, because I learned this lesson in high school. I had a teacher, he wanted us to watch the ABC News. I've talked about this before. ABC News, but not the news itself. Pay attention to the commercials. And that lesson I learned way back there in the 80s was, oh, wait a minute. If you want an idea of what's being pushed, look at the commercials. It could be something as simple as sales. It could be a political agenda. But they still the fear The fear is something. Not off of, hey, this is just a great idea. This is a great product. This is a film. This is what we're going to do. In fact, let me bring it back to politics. Let me bring it back to politics. How much of what's being discussed is based on fear and not of what we actually want to do? That's why I'm politically independent. I don't like either party, either major party. And quite frankly, if I were to do a political channel, I'd point out how they just two wings of the same party. Because this is basically a one-party system. It's just different wings taking turns. But that's another conversation. But it's still playing on people's fears, and that's showing the hope. Like getting back to the commercials we see or what we see in the news. We might get one story as something positive, a feel-good story. But everything is like, oh, we got all these deaths. We got all these deaths, all these shootings. And it's important to talk about it, but, why not give equal time to the positive things that are happening? The neighborhoods that are doing great. In fact, I'm going to give you a racial example. You always see something in the news about something happening and it's a predominantly black event. It's a predominantly black event and it's something. Some shooting, some rowdiness, some fighting. Yet, I remember seeing something on IG the day we were recording this. And somebody I followed, they were a vendor at a major black event. They say it was no problem. It's nothing but love. I've been to several events like that, like festivals and stuff. Nothing but love. But they don't make the news. Things wouldn't be so bad because you need to still see the bad stuff to know it's out there, but balancing it off with the good stuff. But it's not in the interest of tribes, many of these different tribes, to show that. See, here's the playbook. They want to play on your fears. If you got a fear of something, then you'll come to them to alleviate that fear. That's why some people in many countries, they'll give up their rights as long as you alleviate their fear. But then that means the people in power or the people vying for power got to keep that fear going. They can't hit you with some truth. And I want y'all to think about that. Like I said, you see it. I mean, it's obvious with the political stuff, but it happens on so many levels, so many different places. Religions, churches, mosques, synagogues, circles in the woods are saying, hey, if you don't follow this path, you're doomed. They're playing on the fears instead of saying, hey, this is a beautiful path. Think about it. All right. So anyway, that's all I got for now. I'll get back with y'all. But really think about it. Really look at everything. Don't just listen to me real quick and then go into someplace else. Look at everything happening out here. And look at it at different angles. Not just a political thing. In the religious realm. In your household. It could be in some households. How many parents rule through fear and not love? I want y'all to think about that. All right? So anyway, y'all really think on it. Peace.